Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm John, and today we're plunging into the woods on the 2021 Honda Trail 125, or CT125 if you're not in the USA, or a Hunter Cub, the bike of many names. So, it's also the bike of many tasks. This bike's pretty much a do everything kind of bike. And that's what we're doing right now. We are hitting a nice little easygoing trail here on the New York-Pennsylvania border in the woods. And this is the annual trip that I take every year. And last year I brought the Grom and the monkey, and this year bringing the trail. And I'm doing these trips. So I like bringing different bikes because I like testing them out up here. It's almost like a proving grounds. I've been riding these trails since I was a kid and really familiar with them and really familiar with the terrain. And it's really easy for me to determine how well the bikes are going to work because I've ridden just about everything up here, from ATC 70s when I was a kid to CR125 that I had one time. Brought a DRZ 400 up here one year, the Grom and the monkey last year, and this year the trail. So we're putting it to the test. As you can see, it's pretty at home on these light trails, and that's what I'm going to do in this video today, is take you through a myriad of conditions and tell you how this trail handles them. So we'll jump right into that right now with this rocky ascent right here. And you can't really see the elevation too good from this GoPro, but it's a decent little incline. I'm in first gear, and I kind of got to pick my way around the bigger rocks. You can see there's some obstacles here. Nothing that's gonna really throw too big of a wrench into the equation now. Alright, so not bad, right? We'll take this little right hand here, and this will put us back on a public road. And I can show you the variations of surfaces that the trail can go back and forth on. There's a lot of rocks here in upstate New York. I'm not used to these rocks back home in Florida. It's really soft and sandy, and as you can hear them hitting the the very useful skid plate on the bottom of the bike. All right, so transition from a trail to a little gravel outroad here, and pretty good. Nothing really shocking on that changeover. So the trail, you might have seen, it was a bit dry. It wasn't muddy, so it's not really testing the extreme off-road capability of the bike. So what we're going to do now is get on a public road here, and I'll kind of transit over to a more extreme trail that's extremely muddy, and we'll show you how the bike goes through some of the more extreme off-road conditions. But for now, we are going to cruise on this beautiful little countryside back road here, and the road manners of this bike are really where it is designed to be used. I feel the tires are they're pretty skinny. They're not really aggressively treaded. They're not knobbies. So it handles really nice on the road. And I've put a lot of miles on this bike so far during this trip. And more road miles than I ever have on it. And I got a good feeling of the bike on the road so far, and it handles well. And it's not really going to go over 55, 57 miles an hour. And that's if you're really tucking down. So don't be fooled to thinking that this is going to be a cruising bike or a highway bike, and you really want to be mindful of the speed limits on the roads that you're going to be taking. So, but for these back roads and these country roads, it's really awesome. It's 4 gears, you know, so you have enough usable gears to pull you up the hills and not wind out going downhill. So, all right. So what we're gonna do, you can hear it struggles a little bit going up this hill. I might have been in second. I was in second. So there you go. So one of the things that always kind of throws me off is not having a gear indicator. While it's never something I thought I'd really want or need it, I often find myself starting out in second gear on this bike for some reason. But no big deal. So on the road, the bike's really, you know, a decent little country road cruiser, little back road jumper. And you know, as long as you're not thinking that you're gonna commute on it every day back and forth to work or spend a lot of time in the saddle, it's the other thing that I was gonna expand on is you're gonna have a really sore rear end if you think you're gonna sit on this bike. The seat is just really hard. So I took about an hour or so ride yesterday, and I was finding myself very uncomfortable after a while, and putting my feet up on the rack like that and riding like this, and even putting my, you know, knees on the seat, like riding like that. After a while, just getting uncomfortable and finding a way to not have to sit on the seat. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, I actually just thought about those guys I saw on the Facebook group that are doing the Trans-American Trail on these bikes, and I don't know how they're doing that. They must have different seats, because I don't think I can sit on this bike and do even smooth roads for an entire day, much less more than that. So all right, so now you see we transitioned back onto some dirt, and this is kind of a tame little back road here, and we're gonna peel off over here though, because there's something I want to show you, and it's on the more extreme end of the off-roading. So as you can see, getting into a little bit of that mud right now. All right, so we're coming into this nice little clearing here, and there's something pretty cool up here that we found. Family and I have been riding around for the last couple days and exploring and finding some cool stuff. So that's one of the things I'm going to show you right now. This is something that I always wanted to do since I saw the videos of this trail. Oh, look at that. Dirty old mud bog. Look at this. It might only be an inch deep, but I'm just riding through a creek. That's pretty fun. But it gets a little bit more challenging. So, let's see. You can hear the rocks. And this actually gets a little deep in here, so kind of show you how deep it goes. I'll stop in the middle of it. And yeah, you can see it's not even up to the bottom of the engine. But more or less, the point is that I just went from riding on a road to riding through a creek. And a really rough little creek this one is. It's just, the rocks up here are treacherous. Alright, so as you can see, we went from riding a trail to a smoother trail to a paved road, back to dirt again, and then through a creek, and now I'm gonna show you the really nasty stuff. Alright, so we got quite a little mud bog here, a little tree jump. Let's see here. There you go, no problem. There we go. And we're through, but surely not out of it yet. Like I said, I know where I'm going already because I've been doing these trails for a couple days. So I'm going to show you some nasty stuff up here that Renan and I have been riding through. And I think you'll be pretty surprised on what the trail can actually pull itself through. So, all right, got another bog here. Oh, there you go, no problem. There it is. Keep motoring along. Stick caught under there. So, one of the things you might see on this bike is those tires that really aren't too aggressive in tread like I was talking about. They're not knobby tires, but I'm still able to go through 99% of this mud that I've come across on this trail. And maybe because it's got a hard bottom on it. See, like right here, I mean, I'll just pick this middle here and I'm spinning the rear tire, but it's making it through. It's not just dying in mud. So the tires, as much as you'd want to think that they're not good, they're not actually that bad either. So people are really quick to go and replace these tires when I mean, I'm thinking that for the most part what you guys are doing, these tires might be okay. I mean, if I'm going through this stuff here, all right, you got to think that, are you going to be going through this stuff? I mean, if you're not going to be going through this stuff, stock tires are probably going to be pretty much perfect for you because they're pretty good on the road, and knobbies always degrade the performance on road. So oops, got caught by that stick. Doesn't get any easier, this mud, but the trail just keeps pushing. It's not really complaining and it's not doing anything weird. The fuel injection just is a perfect little reliability combo for this sort of stuff too. I have absolutely no fear that this bike is gonna strand me or anything. And I am making this infinitely more difficult by going this slow through it. So it is truly a, ooh, what's that? I would like to go through that bog, but I'm not sure what's in it or if I can turn around. That's the problem with the woods up here. Sometimes it's not easy to turn around in places. I'll just keep powering through this mud, showing you how the trail just keeps powering through it. It's not complaining, and it's taking my 200 plus pound body through it on the way. So not too bad for a little 125cc semi-automatic bike. And that's the other thing I think that's making this pretty easy, is that it is semi-automatic. The transmission and the clutch engagement is so soft on this bike that it's not spinning that tire. It's almost like a, I don't know, it's so soft that I think the reason why it's not spinning up through the mud is that that soft engagement keeps it from doing that. So it's actually a bonus, I feel. That was one of my biggest complaints about this bike, was that it had that really soft engagement of a clutch. And it was kind of like, okay, am I going to even be able to climb up the mountains and the hills? And, you know, lo and behold, it certainly is climbing up the hills just fine. And furthermore, I think it might even be better with that softer engagement for going through heavy stuff like the mud. So that's a surprise to me. All right, so I'm gonna transit through this trail system here. I'll time warp through that, do a time lapse, and then I'm gonna take us over to a hill climb that's really steep and treacherous and show you how the bike climbs. So let me fast forward through this trail system here and show you what I'm going through, and then we'll reconnect. We are reconvening after the time warp to trails, and the reason why I stopped it here is because this is an interesting little descent, and like I was showing you on the beginning of the video, this is the other way that I was climbing up the rocky hill climb. So now we're going to go down it. And at the end of this, there's going to be a really steep and extreme hill climb, at least for this bike. And that's what I'm going to end the video with, is showing you how the bike goes up that hill climb. And while this stuff really isn't impressive to the more extreme dirt bike sort of rider, I mean, I race motocross, vintage motocross, and I've raced modern motocross. I'm not an expert in it, and I'm not a pro. And any of those bikes that I had, especially like the KX 450F, would rip through that stuff. But we're not on a motocross bike, and that's what makes this a little bit more extreme, or can be called extreme because of what bike we're on. All right, so there's my hill climb, and it's not just that, but it's basically up the whole mountain. So mountains here are not more than 2,000 feet, so we're not climbing 2,000 feet, but it's just a scale reference. But all right, so she's a little slippery here and there. Well, so that might have seemed pretty easy, right? Well, it wasn't too bad. And then we level out, nice little trail here. Oh, here's where it gets a little tough. There we go. Hear the bike struggling? Okay, see? That's what I wanted to show you guys. That was almost full throttle. And the wheel wasn't spinning. So that's where that soft clutch comes into play. It doesn't spin the rear wheels, and as counterintuitive as it is for me to think that the drive should be more direct and I should want that back wheel spinning, I think that's what's allowing me to go up these hills as easy as the bike is taking me up them. If I had a clutch bike, like if I had the Grom, I would have to basically just be ripping up these trails. You know, the clutch slippage is not really there on the other bikes, like trail bikes and stuff. So trail bikes, I mean, like, you know, the Honda CRF 230s, and you know, whatever the, you know, fun trail bikes of choice are. So I'm gonna try to demonstrate this clutch slippage thing to you. You can kind of hear it, and I've touched on this in other videos about this bike. Like when I first got it, it just seems like this clutch is soft, but I'm going to try to highlight that for you. I'll do this. I'll put the front tire up against this rock, kind of hold the brake. You can see that rear wheel's not spinning. Hear it? That's what I mean. That clutch is slipping because that rear wheel is not spinning. What's it gonna take? Then it finally breaks through. So on a regular bike with the clutch, you know, once you're engaged, it's not really slipping that much. This bike allows a lot of clutch slippage. So I was afraid of that and going up these hills, but once again, it didn't seem to be a problem. So guess Honda did it right with this clutch system, and you know, they expected people to go up some stuff. They're making it as easy as possible. The bike definitely doesn't feel like it has tractor-like pull to it, but somehow it's still getting me up all of these hills. I haven't met a hill that I haven't been able to get up yet, so it's elusive. Whereas you think there's no way I'm going to make it up that hill with that kind of clutch slip. I mean, the bike could barely do a burnout in dirt. How am I going to get up a steep hill with rocks? I don't know. It seems to do it just fine. So, non-issue. Alright, so we're going to descent down this rocky slope here. And I'm just going to drag the rear brake. Just balance. And it makes it pretty easy. There's this little root system here, a tree. I'm going to just crawl over that. Actually bounced my rear brake pedal off of it. Didn't really matter. And we get to this nice little flat part here. And then we'll go to our final descent down to the regular trail, which is no big deal. Little rock here. I actually skid the brakes over it, so the rear brake lockup is really nice. It's very, very good feeling on the rear brake. Okay, and then we re-emerge back onto the original trail. So, that was my roundabout do everything tour on this CT125, Trail 125. So I hope I showed you everything you thought this bike might be able to do, and maybe some things that you thought it couldn't do. And the whole point of this video is just basically prove that once again the Honda Minimoto lineup can do it all. A lot of that stuff I've done last year with the Grom and the Monkey, and those bikes were able to do that stuff, and this year with the Trail 125. And I'd say this bike did those things easier than the other bikes, but not as fun. So this is more of like your utilitarian bike. It's gonna get the job done, and it is fun doing that stuff on the bike, but you know, you're not gonna be power sliding through it and clutch kicking and roosting everywhere. It's gonna be a little bit more subtle on this bike, and that might not be as fun for people that are used to doing those types of things like I have, but it's definitely going to get you through those woods and that mud, so have no fear. And we'll close this all down with a little bit of a hard enduro, as much as you want to call it that, for this bike. And there we go. I'm gonna get the rest of the family and we're gonna go cruise some more. So hope you guys enjoyed watching. Be sure to catch my other videos doing a lot of the same stuff on this trip. Thanks for watching.